This is the farthest way of home I've ever been.
Welcome back to another episode of Lotro Talk. As always, I'm joined here with my co-host Baron. It is now day 5 of Helm's Deep release, and we're back talking about some of the class changes and giving you guys a little update.
We have Frupy with us, or whatever you want to call him. I call him Frupy. I don't know if that's the right pronunciation. I think it is. I used to call him Frupy, and then Tal kind of put me in my place and told me it was Frupy.
I think it's Frupy,
So,
isn't it?
Isn't
it Frupy? Because I thought it was Frupy too, and I don't think it is.
I think it's Frupy. No idea.
See, Frupy.
Okay, it's Frupy. Yeah, so we have him with us. He is primarily a Warden, and he's going to talk to us about some changes. But first off, we're really glad to have you with us. We would like to know how long you've been playing, and
I first started playing Lotro when Riders of Rohan first, a year ago. My first tune was a hunt.
What would you say your main tune is now? I know with Helm's Deep and stuff. What tune right now have you been like playing for the most part since Helm's Deep launched?
My Warden mainly through.
And how are you liking the Warden with all the changes?
I think the DPS change is great, but the tanking changes I'm not too sure.
So you're saying you do way more DPS now than you did pre-HD?
Yes, a lot more DPS. On our red line trait tree, there's a trait that gives us a bonus bleed. If like 50% chance to stack a bonus bleed on top of all our other bleed. I mean, the Warden has something like 8 bleeds, or there'll be 50% chance to apply extra bleed, so it will come out with 16 bleeds.
Jesus.
DPS is just crazy. Half of that's tactical damage.
What's the difference in the tanking? I think you were talking a little bit about the actual percentages. Can you go over that just a little bit?
For the tanking, they removed our old threat system where we can force taunt and get aggro off transfer threat. We used to be able to conviction, aggression. I used to transfer all threat, but now they've changed the threat system into DPS points. Say if a champ did 1000 damage against a random mob, that'll be 1000 points of threat to him or. And if a tank traits down blue line for a Warden, the damage we do is times by 300. So if I did 1000 damage against a same mob, I'd have 3000 threat from the damage. So basically we have to out DPS basically now to get aggro and keep.
That's probably why you can do more DPS. Probably goes hand in hand with that.
I would still think it's a little bit harder with especially some champ blending in there. Yeah, is it?
How would you say tanking is now? Do you think it's more difficult for the Warden?
I think it is a lot difficult. I mean, I've been just tanking for 3 days since I leveled to 95 and got a bit geared up. I mean, I did a few IP runs, walk pens with a cap. I mean, the cappy was pulling aggro off me still because when I first started tanking at 95, I wasn't too sure of the threat system like I do now. I thought it was the same as before the update with all my aggro skills, and I kept going and used my old aggro skills because they took a few of the skills I used mainly away from us. That's call to battle and aggression, so I couldn't transfer threat anymore, so I had to change my tanking rotation a lot and adjust to the changes, so that took a while to get used to. But today actually I did an IP run with a minstrel in the RK. What I did was morale tapped a lot. I mean, they had to give me around 10 seconds for aggro. I did some gambit, and Wardens have a battle tendency, if no one knew, where we can do the same gambit and we can store a gambit in our battle memory to use it again. You can we store an aggro gambit if anything gets pulled away, and I just kept spamming the same aggro and over. It was exaliation to that seemed to I kept aggro when I did, so it looks like we have to do our morale traps than what we used to. Before the update, before the class changes, I mean, if I was lazy I'd spam exaliation of battle.
So what about Guardians? Do you think that they came out a little bit stronger out of the patch for tanking, or would you say they're probably in the same position?
From what I've been told, they're in the same position as us. They still have the points what we do. You know, if they did 1,000 damage, they'd get 3,000. But they got a skill called Juggernaut or something like that, where they become basically invincible for 10 seconds, which is pretty cool.
Motherfucking Juggernaut, Charles. That's crazy. You're kind of saying that they're in the same boat as you, so you don't think the Guardian is a little bit better at tanking now than the Warden? Because I know before, like pre-HD, I think Wardens were a little bit more on top. Would you think that has changed, or do you think they're pretty much even now?
From what I understand, guards have 3 force taunts, so it might be a little bit easy for that. Our Warden's force taunt Defiant Challenge, I think Turbine were a bit lazy with it. There's no tooltip basically for it. It doesn't tell us how many targets it affects or how long it's for. It just gives the duration of the reflective buff it gives.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they still do not have like a threat meter add-on for Lotro, right? I mean, that's what I thought. Or do they have one now? I know in other games, like I've used the threat meter just, you know, so you can watch it and see how much you can DPS until you pull it. It's really handy and useful. I don't know why they haven't implemented anything like that for Lotro. Maybe it's because their threat system's a little fucked up.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably back in the past there was no way to really gauge it or somehow really well, so maybe that's.
Well, now it sounds like it's a little bit easier to. If it's based off like damage, you can kind of do the math now at least, you know.
Right.
So, Frupy, if you had the choice, if you're putting together like a 6-man, would you prefer a guard or a warden tank?
For a 6-man, I have no idea because I haven't grouped with a guard since the change. But I'd say a guard for now till I think they're watching Warden's threat system at the moment. You know, they might change it at some point in a update. I think they're testing it out. So I think guards would be the best currently until they tweak the Warden a little.
I know you are a big PvPer, like myself and Baron. How would you say the Moors is now for Wardens post HD?
I think they've become more OP than the Moors. Our range stance, before the update in our range stance, we couldn't heal ourselves as much. We could only do one healing gambit in range stance, but now we can do all our healing gambits in range stance. And our skill Never Surrender, a skill if we fall below 15% of our morale, we recover 50% morale and 50%. And we can use that. It doesn't go away now. Like before the update, it had like a duration, like 5-minute duration. If you didn't fall below, I think it was 10% morale back then, it would just go and you couldn't use it again to the cooldowns expire. But now it stays there until you log off or use it. And once it's cooled down on your bar, you can use it instantly again. Say if I'm taking on 10 creeps or something like I used to before the update, I could use my Never Surrender skill twice in a row, which really help out a lot in survivability.
Something that I was wondering is the Audacity change. Obviously there's no 95 Audacity set, so is it better for you to wear full Audacity from 85 or to get the stats from the 95 year? What have you seen, or what do you think about that?
I've been in the Mars twice since I'm 95. I did survive more. I did try out my level 85 Mars gear. I did survive more on my 95 gear, but I still got rolled a lot. I think I got 4-shotted the other night by a bee.
I don't think it's worth it to, I don't think it's worth it to equip that Audacity gear. Yeah, you're getting the Audacity, but you're losing a lot of statage.
Yeah, you lose a lot of your main stat, like for Warden and agility for D. But this new gear we have, like for instance, looking at my new cloak I got today, 217 agility, 186 vitality. So like your secondary stat is very high now from what it used to be. It used to be like 150 vitality and like 48 agility. So they've boosted up your secondary stat.
And since the creeps have gotten their HP buff, do you think it's going to be a fair fight once everybody gets geared up, or do you think one side's going to be more powerful than the other?
I think it's going to be very even now because I've seen a few Freeps hit 20k on a training dummy. That's just crazy since the update. And they just had level 85 gear on. They weren't fully geared out for 95. So if they gear out for 95, they're going to be hitting pretty hard against the creeps.
Well, you've been out there. You've been in some groups out there. Like, how has it been going on the field? Have the creeps been kind of better now, like rolling the freeps, or have you guys been actually able to get good groups out there and roll them?
I think it was last night. We pushed them back to grams. It was me, Urshi, Eerie, Mortev, Mac, and Coop. We were fighting at River Outpost, I think it was, and we pushed them all the way back to grams. You know, we got a few kills. We did get wiped eventually. They're still pushing back to grams even after they've got a massive morale boost. And I hope it changes anyway because Silverlord is not the best PvP server with creeps sitting
To begin with, and then yeah, have it kind of be unbalanced, and then we're like, fuck. That
Well,
equals
what
no
happened
PvP.
was they upped the HP for creeps, but the healing is still 85. So they're still healing 85 heals into twice the morale pool. It's really not that efficient. So I think that's one of the biggest things. But then I've heard some other things about creeps that are OP.
First time I came to the Moor since I was 95, there was creeps camping GV. It was like Bitscene, Warcat and all them lot. They were just rolling every freep walked out of GV.
Well, how do you spec as a warden for the Moors?
For the Moors now, I would trait down red line, have one trait tree red line, in the other I think that's yellow line for the range gambits because Wardens are pretty good at surviving even when not traded for tanking. We can still heal, but not as like tanking line like increases our healing a bit more than anything. So we still have a good survivability in different traits. It's best to trait DPS so you can actually hit something hard and kill them. I mean, before the update, when I first started coming to the Moors, I used to just trait tank. You know, I'd never kill anything. I'd survive a long time, but I couldn't kill anything, you know?
There's a couple things that you'd want to change. Like, I know it's like right now, not too far in, but from what you can see right now, if there was a couple things you wanted to change, what would it be in general, just for your pleasure?
I wouldn't change anything for DPS at all. I'm loving DPS part of it, but I do miss our old threat system, our old tanking thing we used to be able to do before. I understand why they changed it because of Helm's Deep and had to tie our characters into it, and we didn't need tanks for HD instances. But yeah, I'd definitely bring our old tanking ability back where we could keep aggro, you know, and that's the only thing I'd change.
I think we might hopefully see an update in the next couple months here, I would imagine. Because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that they're going to be looking at to change as it is. That's what you kind of have to go through with an expansion release. You kind of have to see what worked and what didn't.
Yeah, it's like first couple of months is like test and see what needs to change and what's good to keep. I like the new instance drops they're doing, the new loot system. They're just not dropping like the same item over and over again. Like,
Right.
I'd get a Sambrog club or something like 20 times in a row, but now it will drop like a cloak, chest piece, you know, all sorts they're dropping. So that's kind of cool what they've done with it.
Yeah, it is really cool. You can get some nice teals out of, the 6-mans and stuff, so I know I've gotten like one or two that was actually really decent, so
From what I understand too, they took away gold loot, you know, where we could get like class gold items.
specific, yeah, they didn't release any new gold class items for 95.
From when I looked on the forums, there is going to be gold items, but they're going to be coming out of Helm's Deep. They showed us the stat, but they didn't release a picture.
I would like to do some big battle raids just to see how it goes and the mechanics of it all.
Yeah, I've been told by a few people that they're fun to do, and there's some good rewards. I mean, just looking in militia chat, in GLFF, what some people are posting from like gold and platinum rewards. Some of it's pretty dope. I wish I had it.
So overall, how would you rate the new experience? Are you pleased, dissatisfied, neutral, just in general?
I'm quite pleased with the Warden changes. It's not what I expected at all, so I'm really enjoying it. From when I did beta for the first time, you know, when it first opened up to do it, I didn't like it all, but since they closed beta and released Helm's Deep, they've changed a few things, so I've had a few surprises, and I've enjoyed the DPS line of the Warden.
Well, it's definitely a good thing, and I just want to say grats, you were voted twice on our last video for Warden, so...
That's crazy.
You're a good Warden, man. Clearly.
I was before the update. Don't know what I'm doing.
Have you talked to other Wardens since the update and kind of got the feel of how the Warden community is feeling right now?
Yeah, a beast. I'm sure everybody knows him. We've hooked up a few times and we've run a few instances, and he was one who showed me how to tank, told me what gambits I should be using and how the threat system works. So he's helped me a bit on the Warden, and Urshi, he's explained a lot. He hasn't even leveled his Warden yet, but he's explained to me how the threat system works. Beast seems to be enjoying it. He likes a change. From what he's told me, Warden used to be exactly how it is now when 65 was leveled, so it's like gone back to how it was.
Well, that is cool, I enjoy getting opinions from the other classes as far as how they're liking the changes and stuff. I know it was kind of a shocker for lore masters. I'm still kind of soaking it all in.
I mean, I've played on my lore master since the update. I mean, he's only level 58 or something, but DPS was crazy, even at level 50. Yeah, I think they've done that with all classes. They've increased DPS. Like I've noticed on like my Hunter and Arcade down red line, DPS is just crazy.
That's basically everything we were wanting to go over in a short time. Of course, we might need to ask you to come back after we get some bigger. Okay. We'll probably need to ask you back. Yeah, that's what I thought. We'll need to ask you back once things get a little bit more finite and tuned, more fine-tuned, after they maybe make some changes to tanking, stuff like that, and see how that goes. But I wanted to thank you for coming because you were, like Tal said, voted twice, so obviously you know something.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for watching, guys. Like we said in the previous video, we're going to be trying to get these class changes videos up and on there for everyone to take a peek at. And like always, give a thumbs up if you like this video, leave your comments below, and thanks for watching.